I have like 19 different archetypes that we're going to go through here today, and simply we're going to rank them from S tier all the way down to F tier until we decide which archetype is the best and which one is the worst. I do want to be clear here, this isn't robot weapons. We're not specifically talking about verts versus horizontals or anything like that. We're talking about the specific archetype of the robot as a whole. Well, with that being said, we're going to get started here with the first robot on the tier list, the good old-fashioned Wedge.
Here we go. Okay, well, you were the one that was like, well, statistically, wedges win the most mashups. But I feel like 90% of the time you see a wedge bot, and it's no fault to the builder or whatever, but it's like their first build, and you see it fall apart, there's like wheels that come off of it. Like, in practice, they're not always the best. Sure, there's, like, you got your Gary Jins who just absolutely roll people. But it's really up to the person driving the robot.
That being said, I want to put a wedge in A tier.
No, put it in A, for
Okay.
sure. I don't think it's not quite S.
I think it's an A tier robot. I do agree that it's not S tier just yet, but I do think it's an A tier robot for sure. On the entirely opposite end of the complicated robot spectrum, we have the Melty Brain Spinner.
I like how this is next on the list right after the wedge.
Phew.
Not everyone's making a Melty nowadays.
No, but they have like kind of a cult following right now though. Like they're a very popular niche archetype. There's an entire community of Melty Brain builders. Like, I do think the Melty Brain's kind of hard limited though, just in overall design nature, right? I feel like builders making these things are running into just physical limitations.
There's not much you can do when you're spinning like the whole weight class versus the weight.
Yeah.
You're just ping-ponging around the arena.
That's the problem. I think until builders can figure out the ping pong problem, which I don't know if they can, it's just they're kind of hard stuck where they are right now. How do you feel about B tier?
I think you could throw it in B.
I'm gonna call this a B tier robot archetype. Now we're moving on to the classic two-wheel drive mid-cutter horizontal. Pro-con list here, like the pros of the two-wheel horizontal is just that compared to a Melty, they're way more maneuverable, and the fact that every part isn't spinning, I think, is a benefit. The question is, in a raw performance setting, is a horizontal better than a wedge?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, there's for sure that control bot bias from me, but I do think that they're better than worse than control bots like wedges.
The two robots that I have shown here, Tombstone and Original Sin, they have a very storied history of fighting each other in head-to-heads. And head-to-head, Original Sin has more wins compared to Tombstone. I think the wedge is going to eke this one out right now. Next up, the classic four-wheel vertical spinner.
Good.
I think this is an easy S tier, right?
Throw it up there.
It's funny because I think nowadays the four-wheel vert isn't that, like, I think it's falling out of meta-ness in favor of some of these other styles we're going to talk about. But you cannot put it in S for any other reason than it like pioneered meta robots as is, right?
It's so like ideal. It's easily configurable. You can throw whatever front end you want on the front of it. It drives super well. The gyro isn't insane like a horizontal would be or a huge vert.
I think it's just super well balanced. Yeah, I think it deserves nothing less than an S tier rating. Now we're gonna drop into the hammer robot.
Oh, nah, it has to go in the lower tier.
Why are you putting a hammer robot in C tier?
I mean, you could easily outspec, like you could put more of your points into a better control game, but instead you're putting it into a hammer that arguably doesn't do too much damage. It's not like a hammer saw that's later in this list where you're putting something like really scary and dangerous on the end of it. It's a hammer. Most times the physics doesn't work out in your favor. You'll kind of thwack a top plate.
I hate to put it in C tier because I'm kind of hammer biased.
That's the wrong answer. No.
Fine. Okay. It's a C tier robot for sure. From the four-wheel vert, we move on to the two-wheel vertical spinner. There's a lot of different styles of two-wheel verts out there. I chose Monsoon just because I think it's the most recognizable. But whether it's Monsoon, whether it's Uppercuts, whether it's Division, or any of those style of robots, two-wheel vert, generally larger vertical spinner.
It's really a tuning thing. I've seen a lot of two-wheel verts who can't drive at all. They're driving sideways, they're driving crooked because they don't have that four-wheel drive maneuverability. But when you get into some higher level two-wheel verts, they're driving pretty much just as well as a four-wheel vert would.
I think two-wheel verts have a lower floor, meaning I think anybody can build a two-wheel vert and it's going to be kind of crappy. But I think their ceiling is like pretty close to a four-wheel vert when done correctly.
I would put it in S. I think by
really
taking away the extra two wheels, putting it in other spots where if you have the correct ethos, that correct design philosophy, you can really do some work with it that is at the same level as a four-wheel vert.
I can't think of too many like really successful two-wheel verts out there. There's a lot of like upper mid-tier two-wheel verts. What robot that's a two-wheel vert has the same pedigree as a Bite Force, or even a Tombstone for that record?
No, surely. And I'm mad that not one has come to mind. I can't think of a single. No, you're right.
It has to. I think it has to be high A tier. I say that begrudgingly as someone whose most recent robot is a two-wheel vert, but I don't think it's an S tier style, to be honest with you. I think there's an upper limit to how good a two-wheel vert can be. This actually isn't the perfect example I was thinking of when I thought about this one, but the Brit flipper specifically. Not the American style of flipper, but the big wedge-shaped flipping robots you see in the UK in things like Robot Wars.
That's hard to say because all of the Brit flippers are so outdated. There's not much to base because it can't be like, oh, this robot sucks because the robot sucks, or does it suck because it was made in 2000?
They're definitely hard carried by the arena having ring outs.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a huge buff.
Are we saying like home territory, same era, prime era?
No, we're talking modern era fighting robots.
Modern era?
Yes. But they get their home court advantage.
Even in like a perfect ring out situation where there's so many places to get knockouts as a flipper, like even a modern flipper will still struggle in this meta unless you have something really dialed.
I want to put a Brit flipper high C above the hammer.
That's fair.
Moving on to the overhead bar spinner, popularized by robots like Bloodsport as well as Hazard back in the olden days.
Overheads always have problems. It's like, yeah, this robot's working great. I'm having an amazing time. And then you bend the weapon against the impact of the vert, and you're like, yeah, it's over. There's just nothing I can do at this point.
I respect the hell out of people who put so much time and effort into making a good overcutter-style robots, because I feel like there's so many fundamental problems with this robot archetype. Like, there's just like...
We haven't even mentioned the self-righting.
Oh, yeah, oh my god. I don't think a single overhead bar has had a good track record with self-righting ever. Like,
it's a Sisyphusian task.
Man, my hot take would actually be to put it upper C tier, but I think it actually deserves B tier.
Upper? No, look at this right now though. Hear me out.
Wait, okay.
You have a hammer and no C, right?
Yes.
Beta. If Beta's wedge were to fight Bloodsport, does Beta not win?
I think they fought in the past. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they fought, and I think Beta won.
Exactly.
We're placing the overcutter mid-C tier. Moving down the list, we have the hammer saw.
Here we go.
Hammer saws are such a unique robot in the sense that I think they take a lot of work to design and do correctly. But when they are done correctly, I think they're an S tier robot personally.
It's really the iteration thing that makes it a debate. There was a meme somewhere that was like, oh, 90% of hammer saws quit before they become hyperactive vert killers.
And I think that's true though, because I think a peak hammer saw archetypally is one of the strongest archetypes out there.
No, you're right. I think it has to be S. It's just really the iteration thing, but
I think because of how hard it is to make a good hammer saw, I cannot put it above a four-wheel vert.
I still think a four-wheel vert is
on that
over
basis alone. Peak hammer saw beats peak four-wheel vert though.
Yeah, that's the counter right there. Yeah, huge forks, and you just destroy the top weight, and you beat any 4-wheel vert.
Can I throw out a hot take for you?
No, yeah, go ahead.
I think undercutters are an S tier robot.
Well, no, okay. Okay, mister, I'm designing an undercutter right now. It has to be S, because I'm making one. No, they're not. That's not true at all. It's just wrong.
Here is my argument for the S tier undercutter. The biggest one is that I think it doesn't fully defeat, but it starts to defeat the wedge counterplay that you see in verticals, right? Every single vertical since the beginning of time, when they fight a horizontal, they slap a wedge on it. The undercutter makes that a much harder proposition to play. Obviously, you can still run the wedge, but the undercutter means that the undercutter has a higher chance of actually digging in and biting that wedge. The second biggest thing, too, is that undercutter by itself causes the opponent to put a wedge on, but undercutter plus fork or undercutter plus any other form of ground game really starts to mess with people.
This is the wrong take. This is no. Okay, hear me out on this.
Okay,
right?
okay.
You're right, there's many of undercutters who's starting to run ground game and winning those exchanges against verts. May I propose this one robot
Okay.
called Cheesecake? Mid cutters can do the same exact thing, and I stand by this. It doesn't have to be an undercutter. Malice runs the forks. Malice is doing great with the forks, I'd argue. This is not an undercutter only thing that you could be iterating on.
I would argue that the undercutter with forks is more effective than a mid cutter with forks. They can both do the same job, but I think the undercutter will do it better. I'm willing to put the undercutter above the mid cutter, but behind the wedge.
Okay, no, I'm looking at it and it looks fine.
That looks fair?
Yeah, that looks fair.
Okay. From the Brit flipper, we now move on to the American style flipper. These things are characterized by the rear hinge, long flipping arm, flatter body, and of course, a flipping angle that doesn't launch out, but straight up and straight down.
Okay, the thing with flippers in general is that you don't see them once you get past a certain weight class just because they're so heavy.
May I offer you Kelpie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, unless you want to be that guy who's like, I'm gonna throw pneumatics in the air. They're just not effective in the lower weight class. It just takes so much weight to run.
There is something to be said that whenever anybody does show up with a flipper in a lower weight class, it's seen as such a golden goose, and everybody swarms to it because they're so excited to see it in the first place.
You're for sure still the coolest guy at the comp if you're running the flipper.
You have Blip and you have Hydra.
Yep.
And I think both of those robots are successful in spite of the fact that they're flippers, not because they are flippers. If Team Waiachi and Team C's Reasonable weren't so obsessed over this archetype, it would be a trash archetype.
I still think they're better than Overhead.
You think they're
better than a Brit flipper.
If you were to take a modern American flipper and a modern Brit flipper and even put them in a Brit arena, I think the modern American flipper clears. We're going to move on to a very, very rare archetype that you see, the Crusher robot. You want to talk about the flipper robot being rare? I think the Crusher robot is really the shiny Charizard of robot archetypes.
They're just so cool.
They're so
cool to watch. That being said,
is it better than a flipper?
No.
No?
Because it takes 10 years to actually do something with it.
It's definitely better than a hammer, right?
Oh, yeah. Because the maximum damage potential is there.
Yeah.
It's like a hammer saw if you took 10 years to do the hammer saw.
No, it's actually, I was thinking the exact same thing. There's this fear factor with a Crusher. When it actually gets a pin on somebody, I think the tension's worse too.
It's worse than a hammer saw.
Descend down.
I'm counting the dollars going away.
Is it better than an overhead bar or an overhead spinner?
I wouldn't say so.
Just by virtue of the Crusher being such a dying archetype and there's so little support for this class, it has to be very low C tier. I forgot that we built a Crusher years ago.
And it wasn't great.
It was not great, not because of the Crusher, for the record. Before we go any further, I do want to point up one thing. We have no robots at F tier yet. I kind of want to boot some robots down.
Okay. Yeah, no, let's play this. I personally believe that, like, if you're just good enough, nothing's F tier. But if there were one... No!
What would you put in F tier?
I'm honestly disappointed at how far Beta's fallen. The hammers suck. Okay, they do suck, but there's no way it's that bad.
What is an F tier robot archetype?
Are the Brit flippers this good?
You think they're too high?
For the same reason that I think that the Crushers are so mid, the Brit flippers should be lower than the overhead.
Like that.
Yeah, like that.
But...
Still nothing's an F. We haven't solved this yet. Okay, put the hammer down. It's fine.
No. Okay, actually, here's my take, actually. I want to put the Crusher F tier. Solely because I think the archetype is basically dead.
My soul is dying. They're so cool, though.
They're really, really cool. But I think that's the only thing they got going for them right now. There's, like, no reason why you would build a Crusher in the era of hammer saws.
Throw it in F. I'm making a Crusher as my next robot, though. I'm seeing a beautiful robot up next.
All right. We have to talk about where I think the current trend in robots is evolving towards. And that's not the four-wheel vertical bar, but the four-wheel egg beater, or the four-wheel beater bar style of robots.
Throw it in S.
It's an easy S tier.
What are we waiting for?
And I think it's the highest tier robot that we've seen so far. I think if you took everything that was good about a four-wheel vertical bar and then just further optimized it, you end up with the beater bar. You can still slap on whatever front end you want. I think it's just the natural design convergence of the natural evolution of the robots going from bar to beater. Easily top S tier robot. We have the two-wheel drum spinner, the iconic little brick robots like Minotaur, Shred-It Bro, those style of robots. I don't think they're S tier. I'm gonna be upfront. I don't think they're S tier robots.
Okay, no. Here's the thing, though. You gotta consider this. They have been being phased out in favor of beater bars, right?
Yes.
This is true. We are forgetting one very important thing. They are hard meta in plants.
I cannot think of a single other archetype in plastics that does as well, as effectively, as often as the drum spinner does.
But can we really give it S because they're amazing in
because they're really good in plants? Okay,
I'll give it.
Here's what I'm thinking, right?
No, yeah, what do you think?
I look at Minotaur, for example, and it like loses to every other robot in S tier. It loses Saw Blaze, it's lost to Bite Force. It would probably lose to a 250-pound version of Lynx. Like, I don't see Minotaur beating any of these top 3 robots.
But it does beat Monsoon.
Is that enough to put it at the bottom of S or top of A? This is not
top
to
of
say.
A.
Yeah, okay. This is not to say you cannot win fights with two-wheel drums. Obviously, Minotaur's a very successful robot. I think the archetype is just hard limited, though.
Pause.
Yes.
1 second.
Okay.
Is it only two-wheel drums?
Are you thinking like Manta?
Yes.
In my mind, I was lumping Manta into the Lynx like beater bar, like conglomerates.
But it is a drum. Or are we just talking like that?
Yeah.
Two-wheel drum
I'm thinking about the classic Riobots like Brick of a Robot, ultra compact.
Okay. Yeah, if we're just talking that, I think that's fair. Top of A tier.
This is a robot that I think for historically long has been sitting all the way down F tier, but now I think is moving up, and it's the flamethrower robots.
Here we go. They're good. They're definitely not F anymore. I wouldn't call them F.
Yeah,
sure.
I think like 4 years ago, they were the most F tier robot to ever be an F tier. Like, I just think there's like no point to them except cool. Now, with Mixtape and Dutch Oven and all the others, I dare say it's better than the Flippers.
The ground game really is what's carrying them, I think.
I think
they get them pinned, and then that fire is just so much bigger than previous robots usually have.
like the flippers, there's a definite cool factor for whoever brings them around. Because whoever has the flamethrower robot is automatically one of the coolest guys there. They're squarely B tier. I don't think they're nearly as competitive as any of the A tier robots.
Yeah, I don't think they're as competitive as the A tier ones for sure.
Are they better than Melty Brains?
I would say no.
I agree. We're winding our way down right now. We have the Grappler robot, picturized here by Overhaul, but really any Greedy Snake, Claw Viper style robot fits into this category as well.
S tier. Throw it over the beater bar.
I think
I'll actually die on this.
Is biased.
It has to be.
Okay.
I have beat so many beater bars with this setup, where you run 2 chonky AR forks in the front, and you just bully beater bars for 3 minutes.
I was really not gonna join you on this train until June NHRL when Kevin Molcheski sweeped 30-pound, including beating Megatron with this style of robot.
Time after time. People are like, oh, it's too complicated. I don't want to make the setup. It's like 3 gears and a lifting arm. It's not too complicated, which means that there's not too much room for failure. Not as much as you would expect. Maybe Overhaul isn't the perfect example of the beater bar counter, but you do it right and they just absolutely roll meta in the same way a hammer saw would.
Does it crack the top 3?
It's not better than I'm fine with saying it's not better than a hammer saw.
Okay.
Because a hammer saw, you get that quick KO.
Yeah.
You can still kill a battery and just call it done, but you really do have to play that control game.
Control bots are ultimately plagued by the fact that they still don't have damage, right? They still have to be almost perfect for 3 minutes straight.
I think that's fair.
You know, I said we didn't get a F tier robot. I think we might have actually gotten to one, like an actual F tier.
No, go ahead.
The front hinged flipper.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
100% true. I've also been saying this for 4 years. The next control bot I make will probably be a front hinge flipper.
Wait, what?
Dude, no, I've been on this. The geometry is so perfect for picking something up and putting it sideways against the wall. Tell me otherwise.
I'm not saying that it doesn't have potential, but Shrapnel Mine's a front hinge flipper.
Okay.
And that was not a successful robot in its competitions.
I don't think Shrapnel Mine is the best example.
Naming better examples
into too many things.
What is there? What good example of a front hinge flipper exists? The Archetype has potential to be good, but I think there's just so little representation. I think it falls into the Crusher problem right now. I think it's an F tier robot.
Is it? It is worse than Crusher. Damn it.
I think it's F tier.
It for sure is. It would for sure lose to a Crusher.
Alright, final 2. We have Whiplash isn't really the perfect robot for this Archetype, but I'm using it. It is the Lifter plus Spinner combo. That includes robots like Whiplash, but that also includes Terratops, that includes Jackpot, any robot that has a lifter plus a spinner.
It's not hyper optimized.
It really isn't. And I think that really shows when it comes to armor. All of those robots have a very distinct lack of defensive capabilities. They can slap big wedges on it, but the actual core structure is very thin comparatively.
That being said, Whiplash, Jackpot, and Terratops, they're all great
good robots.
They're all really good.
Really, really good robots. That's the issue.
Once again, it's one of those things where you do it right, but you don't see them, for an Archetype with great success, you don't see it a lot being imitated by, other builders. I see you holding Whiplash real low in the rankings.
I want to put it upper end of B. The 5 robots in A are better than it.
You think a mid-cutter is better than a Whiplash style robot?
I think so. The mid-cutter is such an optimized robot as a concept. It really has melded or evolved to the peak form of what it is.
There's too many in A. Yeah, put it in upper B.
Yeah.
Gotta even the scales here.
Alright, that leads us to our final robot in our tier list, and that is the full-body Shell Spinner, aka the Gigabyte style robots.
Yeah, can we like cut to the clip of Hypershock just punting this robot like into the roof?
These aren't amazing robots, and I'm gonna be very honest with that fact, but they're really cool.
Are they really better than, let's say, the really close like robot compared to this, the Melty Brain or the Overhead?
I think a shell spinner is significantly better than an overhead bar, by virtue of just having way more mass on it. But unlike a Melty, it actually is maneuverable, like you can drive it.
Recently, there are great shell spinners.
Who are you thinking?
Forgetting what they were all called. The one with the funky name was like Waju or something.
Oh, Wayu, yeah.
Wayu. And then the Gigabyte clone-ish, the 30-pound shuffler. Chonky!
Chonky, yes.
That's it. Chonky is great. It is probably the best shell spinner I've seen. It does perfect shell spinner things. It's like ripping wedges off and like making that matchup somehow unfavorable for the wedge.
Is it a hot take to put him at the top of B tier?
Yes. Just seeing Whiplash below.
Man, it is tough because like Whiplash, Jackpot, Terratops, they're really holding it down for the archetype in BattleBots. But that archetype does not exist outside 250s.
You don't see it in lower weight classes a lot.
I think Shell Spinners transcends more, like, I think it's more universally effective.
Do it. Just do it.
Okay, that feels a little weird.
The Brit Flipper is really throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie.
You think it's worse than Hammer?
Yeah.
I am willing to agree with you on that.
Okay, no. Something's wrong. Something has to be wrong because the Crusher would so destroy this Brit Flipper.
I know the Crusher would roll the Brit. That's the thing. I've seen it. I know the Crusher.
Do this. I don't know if this has to be the right answer here. Swap the Brit Flipper and the Crusher. We should talk more about this wedge. The highest skill ceiling, arguably. We can also point out the amazing, glorious ramp buddy.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the ramp buddies are holding it down for wedges in small weight classes right now.
I was gonna say throw it in S.
Oh, you want to put it higher? What? The problem that's holding me back on the wedge robot is just that it has terrible, like if it's in disadvantage, it just has no comeback potential. There's nothing it can do to come back from a match if it's losing. At least a Claw Viper can grab you or like put you upside down or make you so you can't self-right. The wedge, I think, just is in a bad spot if it starts to lose.
Yeah, that's fair.
Here, what do you think about that?
Ooh. Yeah. Throw it above.
And I do think
the drum. No, throw it above
No, there's no way. There is no way. I am dying on this hill that the drum is a much better robot archetype than the wedge.
That hurts.
There's nothing you can do to convince me otherwise. We have done it.
This is the end.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your official robot archetype tier list. The best robot, as decreed by us, is the four-wheel beater bar style spinner, and the worst robot archetype is the Brit style front hinge pneumatic flipper.
Let this be known. This is not subjective. We are 100% right. There's nothing you can do to prove us wrong.
You could sue us, or we'll sue you if you have a different opinion, actually.
Yeah. I still think the wedge is better. But leave it! It's fine!
Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment below if you would change anything about this tier list, or if you think there's any archetypes that you think we missed.